Welcome to Soul Sailing with Trevor White. So today, talking about Epi Island. I recently just visited Epi Island and diving with dugongs. Get out of here, eh? Like, so cool. I have seen a number of dugongs in Queensland whilst I've been around, but they're very, very shy. They don't tend to hang around very much, and Epi Island has a reputation of having a number of dugongs around, and dugongs in Vanuatu are protected, thankfully. Otherwise, they would have no defence against humans. They're fairly gentle, benign creatures. They live off seagrass, easily hunted. Sadly, and even in my own country, Australia, they still hunt them, which I find offensive. That our indigenous population still hunts and eats dugong, and they don't do it out of a dugout canoe. They do it out of a runabout, which is even more offensive. So, yeah, I think it's high time they're protected all over the world. They're a completely defenceless creature. And so cool. So went down to Epi Island and wanted to check the place out. And we'll end up staying in Lemire Bay. Lemire Bay is in the northwest corner of Epi Island, just in from Lemire Island. And it's a great little island. It's very well protected from the prevailing southeasterly trades. I had planned to visit the underwater volcano. So there's an underwater volcano on the north of Epi Island, when you can apparently see the glow of this when you sail over it, or with satellites, and that sounded pretty cool. Trying to see as much of these amazing parts of Vanuatu, but the weather was absolutely foul we sailed down there. So ended up sailing all the way to the northern part of the island, and the northwest part of the island, which is more protected. So it was probably blowing 30 to 35 knots as I was approaching Epi. There was nowhere on the north of the island where I could safely anchor, or that I could establish where I could safely anchor. So quickly paid off the underwater volcano, continued sailing north. There's a number of anchorages along the coast, which are semi-viable anchorages in the right conditions, in light conditions. But in heavy conditions, they didn't feel very safe. So I just continued on until we got to Lemire Bay. And friends had been there before, so I took their advice and went into the middle of the bay and slightly to the right. So when you come into the middle of the bay, slightly to the left is a reef, which is hard to see. And then if you sort of, cut to the middle and then cut that in half again, the right-hand side has got coral, which you can make out. In the middle of that section is pretty good anchoring. It's volcanic sand, so it's not super black. It's sort of a lighter coloured sand, but not white sand. Really good holding in. I was in 4 metres, and really, really good holding. So threw the pick down and we backed onto it. It was just sand. A little bit of seagrass around there. Seagrass is more to the sides of the bay, hence the dugongs, I guess. And it was a great place, and even on the first day, I thought I'd saw a dugong. I was just sitting in the cockpit having a beer, chilling out, and it was a creature. Like, is that a shark or is a dolphin? What is that thing? And it appeared to be a dugong. So, and they're really quite inquisitive. So on a number of occasions, just sitting in the cockpit, particularly early in the morning. So early in the morning, just sitting there, minding my own business, and they would just come up and have a look at the boat. They're not hanging around, like they're not waiting for scraps, but they are inquisitive. And so I jump over the set of fins and a face mask, and there's this dugong just hanging around. So that was really, really cool. Did a fair bit of snorkeling in that area. So again, because of the prevailing winds, the northern side of the bay was quite rough, but the southern side of the bay, which sort of wrapped around into the ocean, wasn't too bad. So, and there's quite a bit of reef through there, and so we went up through there, snorkeling, exploring, doing some filming on the reef. Lots of swim-throughs and little villages, sort of, in tiny little bays, old plantations that have these small natural bays. So, it was interesting just exploring, this area. But, again, the dugongs were in this area as well, and there was a reasonable amount of seagrass up through there as well. So I guess that's why the dugongs are there. Went from, a couple of metres down to 20 metres as you got maybe 100 metres offshore. So it was a good place if you want to see dugongs. If you want to see dugongs, Lemire Bay in Epi is worth going to and spending a few days. It's also a nice little spot. It's very well protected. They do have a local market. They sell fuel there, which is handy. There's a hospital on the top of the hill, and believe me, if you can walk to the top of the hill, you do not need to go to a hospital because it is steep and it's hot there. But it is there's a brand new concrete road, fibre concrete road, which has been built by AusAid. So it was nice to see my taxpayers' dollars going somewhere to help Pacific neighbours, and it was a good road. It was really well made. This time they'd used fibre reinforcing, which they also do in the mines to reinforce cement. And I think this thing will be there for a number of years. There had been a previous road which wasn't reinforced and had serious cracking all through it. So this looked like a much better deal. There's a little airport there, not a huge one. A few cows rolling around. So I guess they get someone to clear the airport landing area before the planes fly in, and it's only going to take little bug smashers, probably a twin otter or something like that, will land there. But people were super friendly. There's a couple of schools. There's probably 3 schools near the village. There's a couple of little shops in the bay. Stocked up on a couple of things in the bay. So I visited Epi Island a couple of times now, and it's a great little spot. Definitely a great little bolt hole if you need somewhere just to hide from the prevailing winds if they're a bit lumpy. And you're still heading north up into Pentecost or across to Port Sandwich. It's a sort of not about halfway point. You can get there in a day from Port Vila if you put the hammer down. You need to it's probably a good 8 to 10 hour sail. That's if you're doing 8 or 9 knots. If you're not doing that, then you're probably not going to make it. But I would definitely recommend Epi if you want to see dugongs. I love the fact that they were there. I love the fact that they were inquisitive. It means that no one's actually hunting them or harming them. And the villagers are telling me they were protected, which I thought was fantastic. Great place to stop. It was great anchorage, good sandy bottom, good holding. All over. It was a nice little anchorage with the benefit of swimming with dugongs. And it was also nice to see my tax dollars doing something worthwhile. All right, I'll see you out there. So safe sailing, and see you next time.